Rock and metal invasion. Rock and metal invasion. Rock and metal invasion. Rock and metal invasion.
Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I am doing lesser known female fronted hard rock and metal from the 80s, part 10. Yes, this is actually part 10. The first one I've done though for over a year. I did part 9 about a year ago, and then I did part 8 about 2 years ago. So I've kind of been doing the most recent ones just sort of once a year kind of thing because I went through a whole lot initially, and now I'm just sort of doing them as they come up. And I've got some interesting ones today, some definitely lesser known ones, I think. And a real combination really of just rock, AOR, hard rock, and metal, and pretty much all from the sort of mid early 80s, really, I think. Into the later 80s a little bit as well. But yeah, so quite a bit to get through, so let's get started. All right, first up, I'm going to show you Rossington. So Rossington is a band that is fronted by Dale Rossington. Now she is married to um, Gary Rossington, and her actual name is Dale Krantz Rossington. And of course, Gary Rossington was from Lynyrd Skynyrd, and this band, he formed a band, I think it was called Rossington Collins. I think that after Lynyrd Skynyrd had sort of broken up, and then he gets together with Dale, their husband and wife, and they form a band and they put out a couple of albums. And it's, very much that sort of mid 80s AOR, melodic rock. I mean, bit of southern rock, bit of country rock in there as well, of course, but I quite like this album. It's got some good songs on it. It's, 80s production, but Turn It Up's a good song. Dangerous Love, I really like that one. And Wounded Again's quite a good ballad. So yeah, and Dale has a fantastic voice. And they did another one as well. This time, that one was called Rossington. This one's called The Rossington Band. It's called Love Your Man. Quite a country sort of southern rock kind of a album title, but it's very similar. I mean, actually, I've heard people say it's this one is better than the previous one. I think it's kind of similar. If it's yeah. Now I think Lynyrd Skynyrd had actually got back together at this point, but this is I think they only put out the two albums, and I think it's fairly similar sort of a sound. Losing Control, that's a really good song. Check that one out. Welcome Me Home is a song I talked about on a previous episode where I talked about the fact that it's actually written by Jimmy Barnes and Neil Schon, and that's, a bit of a surprise. I know that Jimmy and Neil were working together on songwriting for Jimmy's solo album, so maybe that's a song that wasn't used, and so um, the Rossington band used it. But yeah, that's really good. Actually, this has got some good hard rock on it, actually, I think. Yeah, the production's very 80s, and it does have some sax on it and everything like that, but and keyboards. But I think it sounds good. Um Interesting, the keyboard player is Gary Ross. So on keyboards, I got a guy called Gary Ross, and which is kind of funny because not on this album actually, it's not on this album. On this album, the keyboard player is called Gary Ross, and of course it's Gary Rossington on guitar. But I think that's just a coincidence. But yeah, so yeah, both these albums I think are worth checking out if you like melodic hard rock, southern rock. Like I say, Dale, fantastic voice. He does really have a fantastic voice. So that is my first selection. All right, next one is a fairly obscure one. It's a one and done album, and it's by a band called Last Tango. So this is very much pop rock, 80s pop rock, and it is basically just two people really that make up Last Tango. You've got Jody Sokoloff on lead vocals. I think that's how you say it, Sokoloff. Jody on lead vocals and Carmen Yates on guitars and vocals. But I think all the lead vocals are by Jody. This is very pop rock. It's not heavy at all, but there are a couple songs on it that I really like. Now, interestingly enough, they're two songs that were not written by Last Tango, so they actually were outside songwriters. And I've heard versions of these songs on other albums, but it's cool to hear another version of it. So, Stone in Your Heart and Always a Rebel, they're my two sort of go-to songs from this album. Now, Stone in Your Heart was when I first heard it, I heard it on Molly Hatchet's album, The Deed Is Done. But it's actually a song written by this guy here, Tom DeLuca, and you can find a version of that song on his 1986 album, which is really good. This is a really good album worth checking out. Um, Here he is there, but he's the songwriter. And yeah, so I heard it first though so it actually, it's one of those deals. Sometimes this happens, doesn't it, where a song is covered by multiple artists. So first it was on Molly Hatchet's album, then it's on the Last Tango album, and then it's on Tom DeLuca's solo album in '86. This came out in '85. Like I said, there's another song on here I like called Always a Rebel. That was initially a Shanghai song, and on their One and Done album that came out in '82, which featured Amanda Blue on vocals from Spider. You had Bo Hill also in that band. He's also a songwriter of that song. So yeah, when I first heard Always a Rebel, I heard the Shanghai version, but you can hear the Last Tango version on this album. And it's not a bad album, but like I say, apart from those two songs, it's very much pop rock and a one and done album as well. All right, next one is an Australian band called Ya Ya Coral. Unusual name for a band. Now, these guys are interesting because, well, first of all, they're an Australian band. And when you turn it over, you can see the album's called One Small Step for Mankind. And this is actually I think it's their third album, but they do change their sound a fair bit. This is where they kind of went hard rock, heavy metal. Before then, they'd been more sort of alternative punk sort of a sound. That's my understanding. I haven't got any of the other albums, but they definitely, yeah, changed their sound. So they've actually got a cover of the AC/DC song Touch Too Much on here, which is really good. The vocalist is a lady called Fiona Graham. There she is there. They've also got a female bass player, Joanna Urbank. And you can see just by looking at the guys here, you know, there's other pictures actually of them. Oh, here we go, over here. Um, that guy's wearing a Metallica t-shirt, but yeah, there's Michael T there. Sadly, he passed away just a few years ago. He was still active in the music industry. Um, and Fiona Graham also sadly passed away in 2013. So quite young. She's probably like only 50, brain cancer. But yeah, they remind me a little bit of another slightly obscure band, but they had a similar sort of did a similar sort of thing. Band called Legal Weapon. This is an American band, but they also started off kind of punk, alternative, and then this is kind of their hard rock, heavy metal type album. And it's sort of a bit like what Yeah Yeah Coral did. But obviously, they like the heavy stuff, and they're just sort of embracing that side of it a little bit more, I guess, with this album. Don't think there's anything after this. There is another EP, I think, that came out around this time, and it's actually really good. I like it. It's not over, it's not like uh, it's not super well produced or anything, but it's kind of a real sort of very much a sort of just we're just here to rock and just come in and pick the guitars up and drums and just kick ass as much as they can. It is still got, I guess, that sort of that punk influence in there a little bit, but yeah, bit of an obscure one. Although they're an Australian band, I didn't pick this up in New Zealand. Um, I actually got it, on Discogs through someone in the UK, and I think because they mainly had probably had quite good distribution in the UK as opposed to down this way. But yeah, it was pretty cheap, so I thought I'll check it out. And yeah, I recommend it. Like I say, I haven't heard their other albums. From what I understand, a little less, more sort of alternative or punk than on that album. All right, next one's an unusual one because this, to my knowledge, is their only, at least, album on vinyl, and it's not even a full album, it's like a mini album, and it's a band called Cleveland. Cleveland. Now they're actually from Cleveland, so it's weird that they've kind of called the name of the band Cleveland, but they're fronted by this lady here, and her name is Polly. Can't quite read her surname. We'll just say Polly. I think it's Polly. And you can see there's quite a few band members though. It's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven other band members. So there's a lot of other instrumentation happening here. You've got trombone, you've got trumpet, yeah. So you've got a horn section here, as well as your guitars, your bass, and your probably some keyboards in there. So that can be a bit off-putting if you're not into the horns and kind of the trumpets and things. It does take it away from me a little bit because there's some nice guitar playing. There's some good hard rock on here. It's actually produced by Mike Levine from Triumph. I think this is the only thing he ever produced, apart from what he produced with Triumph, obviously. But and these guys were, they were actually quite popular, although they're from Cleveland. They were really popular in Canada, I guess. If, looking at geography, which is not one of my strongest subjects, it is quite close to Canada, isn't it? So maybe that's how that worked. But but yeah, so they're quite well known and popular in Canada, and they supposedly set some world record, Guinness World Record, for playing for the longest time or something like that. I think it was something like that. And they were around for quite a while as well, but didn't really put a lot of music out. But I guess just as a touring band, were able to do pretty well. And yeah, there's only this is only like an EP, so I think there's only like 6 songs on here. Yeah, six, 3 songs on each side. But I'll Give You All That I Got is really good. That's a good song. Really good hard rock. This is 1983 when this came out. It's really good. Again, though, there are trumpets and saxophones and things like that in there. But yeah, like I say, I'll Give You All I Got is the reason I got this album because I really like that song. So um, yeah, and but like I say, for whatever reason, I think they did put something out on CD which had some more songs on it, but nothing else on vinyl. And so there we go, Cleveland, Cleveland, and yeah, they're one and done sort of on vinyl EP. All right, next up we're going to do some look at some Japanese female-fronted heavy metal from 1984. It's another EP. This is a band called Rajas. Rajas? Hopefully I'm saying that correct. It came out in 1984 and it's just an EP, so just 4 songs. But these 4 songs did not appear on, I don't think they did anyway. They've only got the one album that I know of, at least that came out in the 80s. And none of these songs are on there. So these 4 songs are the only are not on the album that came out in 85. You've got On the Real Fire, Straight Fighter, My Love, and Rock With You. Those are the 4 songs. Some really nice guitar playing on here. Now, the singer is someone called Kunuko Sen Morikawa. So I've actually got, because this is a Japanese, really nice Japanese album cover, and it comes with a poster. So I can show that so you can see the band. There's the female singer there. It's a bit blurry actually, but yeah, that's the sort of insert and the poster that comes with it. It's quite cool. Is there anything else? No, but yeah, there's the band. There's Kaneko there. I think that's her there. And there's the rest of the band. And yeah, her vocals. It could just be the Japanese style vocals that don't quite work for me that well, but there's some nice guitar playing and it's a fairly heavy album for 1984. It's definitely yeah, definitely I would call it female fronted heavy metal, Japanese heavy metal. So yeah, worth checking out. All right, next one is just more straight up rock really, and it's another Japanese press this one. This is Anne Bertucci, 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 I think is how you say it. And I'm Number One, which is a uh, there's a song on the album called I'm Number One as well, which is really good. And was initially backup singer for the Babies, and I don't know, maybe she was also in a relationship with John Wayne at some point. I'm not sure. That's what it's been rumored. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But if you see the music video by the Babies, When I Think of You, I think it's called. Oh, Every Time I Think of You. Yeah, Every Time I Think of You, there's a music video, and there's some female vocals on there, and it's Anne in the music video doing the singing, although it's not actually her voice. So on the recording, it's someone else, but it looks like it's her singing on the music video. So you can see her in that music video, and then yeah, she goes off and has a solo career. And I think she puts out 3 albums. This is the only one I've got. And yeah, there's some good songs on here actually. It's not heavy, but it's there's some nice guitar playing. I'm Number One. The title track is really good. Viva La Difference is good. You're Out. No, I like that one. And there's a song on here called Ice Cream Cone, which lyrically is quite interesting. I don't know if it's a metaphor for something else. I don't actually think it is, but when you read the lyrics, you might think that it is. And it does come with a nice poster. Well, like a nice picture of her, like Japanese, you know, as usual, doing a good job with the everything here. So here's a picture of her. Yeah, and it's got some credits here. I'm pretty sure Steve Lukather actually plays guitar on here. It's one of those albums where there's lots of different people playing, but I think maybe it'll be on the in the credits through here. Yeah, so I think it actually talks about who's playing on each song on here. And yeah, Steve Lukather definitely does feature as a guitar player on some of the songs. Yeah, it's sort of a bit of a mixture, of course. It's each song has a different person listed. Some obviously are playing in more than one song. Actually, before doing this episode, I was watching the YouTube channel of a guy called Leland Skylar. He's a bass player. He plays bass on this album, and he was talking about this album, talking about recording it. He's got quite a few subscribers. So obviously a lot of people know him and follow him. And he's looking on Discogs. He's played on a lot of albums, but yeah, definitely yeah. I can see Steve Lukather guitar on I'm Number One, and he might feature on other. I don't know if that's the only one. No, he's on Against the Law as well. So his name comes up a fair bit here. Oh, You're So Selfish. He plays guitar on that one as well. But yeah, it's quite good actually. It's quite good. She's got a great voice. There's videos of her on YouTube you can check out. She's yeah, pretty good performer. Obviously, she had been, of course, performing with the Babies, but yeah, and then has her solo career. But I guess didn't really have a big hit, and so that kind of, I guess that sort of stopped things. But I know that looked her up on Facebook. She's on Facebook. She's still doing like performing musically, just like covers and things like that. I think in a cover band. But I guess you might say if you liked Pat Benatar, you might like this. All right, last one. Another Australian one. Yeah, kind of is. They were born in the UK, but then they moved to Australia, and this is a band called Cheetah, and the album is called Rock and Roll Woman. So these two ladies, I think they're sisters, and they're fronting the band. Initially, they were born, in the UK, but I think they came over to Australia when they were quite young. This is on Albert Productions, so AC/DC's label. And yeah, it's not like, it doesn't sound like AC/DC, but it's that good, honest rock and roll kind of sound, but female fronted. Bang Bang, that's the opening track. That's probably the best song on the album for me. Yeah, so Cheetah it says here, Lindsay and Chrissy Hammond. So there they are, and I think we open this up. It's a gatefold, so we'll get some better pictures of them there. There they are. Of course, this is early 80s, 82, I think this album came out. Um, but yeah, if you can check them out on YouTube as well. There's lots of music videos for almost all their songs by the looks of it. But like I say, Bang Bang, that's a good song. Check that one out. And I mean, they'd been around for a while too, like even throughout the 70s, they had been putting out singles, but this is the only album they actually did put out. So it says contains the hit Spend the Night. I'm not sure if it was a hit or not actually, but yeah, like I say, Bang Bang I think is a good song. And then I think what happened was they kind of after this album they kind of separated, but you know, obviously they're related to each other. So I think they've got back together from time to time and done some things, but also worked for other artists as well. But yeah, yeah, really good. It is what it is, you know. It's early '80s rock, I suppose, but Albert production, so you know, it's produced by Vanda and Young, so you know, it's just good straight up rock. Meat and potatoes, hard rock at times, but yeah, and obviously, you know, these ladies are quite attractive, and I think that would have been probably part of their appeal as well. Probably maybe that's why they've got so many music videos. Like all their songs, there's a music video for. Maybe they had like some TV special or something where they just played the whole album because if you go on YouTube, every song seems to have a like a. It's not a. There's not a lot to the music video. It's just basically them just singing. But yeah, there's lots of music videos and so this is I've seen this from time to time in record stores and quite often too. You find it in the metal bins. You know, you find it. It's really not heavy metal, but I mean, I would imagine in early '80s, this might have been considered heavy metal. They played with Iron Maiden at the Reading Festival in like '82 or something like that. So you know, they were probably hooking up with, you know, probably I'm sure they probably did a gig or two with AC/DC. So you know, they were hanging out with the heavier bands, but yeah, just good hard rock really, 80s rock. So. There we go. And that is my final one for today's show. So that is part 10 of lesser known female fronted hard rock and metal from the 80s. Will there be a part 11? Quite likely. Will it be this year? Will you have to wait another year for part 11? Quite likely. But I find things sort of turn up from time to time. And I also actually I say quite likely, but I've there's quite a few there that I haven't shown yet that yeah that I've got still got in my collection they haven't talked about. So possibly actually I could do a part 11 very soon. We'll just see how it goes. All right, well thanks for watching. If you do like this type of content, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you later. All right, see ya.